Hey you, it's me with your reading for the lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is happening during the full moon, which occurs on September 7th, 2025. And the energy of this lunar eclipse involves coming into understandings about life and about sacrifice that we can only get through experience. This is going to teach us about reflecting, about being hard on ourselves based on how we think that we're perceived by other people. These lessons will be related to responsibility, the way that we show up for ourselves, consistency, dependability, reliability. I'm hearing a lot of rewords, like during retrograde, we tend to focus on words that start with that prefix. So relax, reset, refresh, reflect, reassess. So a lot of these themes will come up. Anything that you may have reviewed during Mercury's retrograde that we just came out of, these themes came up because the lunar eclipse is here to wash them away. The lunar eclipse is really flushing down the drain all of the topics and the thoughts and the stories we tell ourselves, and even some of the addictions, because Pisces is associated with illness and addiction. Some of those addictions, mental, emotional, spiritual, that have really been tainting our lived experience. The full moon always cleanses, it always shines a spotlight on areas that we tend not to pay as much attention to. And the same way that the moon controls the tides of the ocean, think of those waves as being drawn closer to us, closer to the earth, to remove and to wash away and to cleanse what we can no longer carry into the future. There is a relationship dynamic here that is going to be addressed. Any places where you've been sacrificing yourself, where you've been changing your opinions, your perspective, your approach to life, listening too much to other people for validation or their opinions, rather than approaching connections with authenticity and allowing yourself to make mistakes if it's necessary. Anywhere that you have not been trusting yourself enough or surrendering to trusting the people who you're in relationship with, these relationships will get drummed up again. I also feel like that's because Mars is currently in Libra, and Mars, the planet of conflict and action and motivation, in Libra feels kind of like pent-up frustration because things are not going the way that they should be. Things are not just. So anywhere where you've been foregoing justice in order to make space for a look or vibe of harmony that's not actually peaceful, this kind of internal and external conflict, the tension it creates in relationships, is going to come into your conscious awareness during the lunar eclipse. I feel like this is the time for you to shine. We're all being called during the lunar eclipse to not be afraid to just dump out whatever is holding us back from allowing love and honesty to pour through us. This is an opportunity for you to really show up for yourself. Show the universe, I'm not afraid to state my needs and set boundaries and be consistent with those boundaries if my needs are not being met by people who claim to love me or claim to value or care about me. There might be some difficult decisions that need to be made just because it's important to make sure that we are attracting relationships with people who can meet us where we need them to. And so we're not feeling like we're having to sacrifice or dim ourselves or shrink ourselves just to make connections work, okay? I feel like it's time for you to make a plan. How are you going to use this period of time to look at life through a new perspective? Take off the rose-colored glasses that make you maybe put people on pedestals or view your relationships through idealistic lenses that are not really making room for humanity, for mistakes, for miscommunication, and for things to just not be perfect. Even though relationships are personal, doesn't mean we have to take people's actions personally. Very often, the way that people think and communicate, especially when it's harmful, is so much more about them than it is about us. So keep that in mind. How can you start to write a new story about your relationship with yourself and watch that positive story permeate in all of the relationships in your life? This is such a cliche, but it's true. Because it's true, every relationship we have with people, substances, activities, the environment, our spirituality, All of these relationships are simply reflections of our relationship with ourselves and our inner child. Keep that in mind through this lunar eclipse. It's going to require you to have compassion for yourself. It's going to require you to have patience with yourself. And there may be some heavy feelings, but allow time to heal. There are some things that time is completely in control of, and all we can do is surrender. Pisces energy understands that if I'm not doing well individually, everything around me will feel unsettled or unwell. So the more that I take care of myself, the more that I show up for myself with compassion and consistency, the more I'll see that reflected in the people who I attract, in the jobs that I attract, in the money that I attract. Plan to give yourself extra time for emotional processing. This is a time for you to get into alignment with what's truly meant for you authentically, not what other people expect of you or what you think you need to do to make other people proud of you. Eclipses also bring rapid transformation, so be ready to let go of what no longer serves. Remember, this eclipse is flushing down the drain whatever does not serve us. For a more personalized idea of how this might affect you, I encourage you to look at where you have Pisces in your birth chart. For example, if you have a Gemini rising, you'll have Pisces in your 10th house. If you have a Taurus rising, you'll have it in your 11th house, and so on, okay? I wish you the absolute best. Happy full moon eclipse.